It's week 11, day 71 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. My name's Jason, and today I'm going to talk about the most important tool you have in your psychological toolbox to heal your mind: reframing. There's more than one way to validly interpret your experiences. First, though, a quick status update. I had my 11th dose of ketamine today, which leaves me feeling exhausted and tired and motion sick, and so I hate making my videos on ketamine days because it suppresses my innate bubbly personality. I actually have that. That's normally who I am, but it's just been suppressed between chronic pain and now the ketamine treatments. I'm just kind of like a subdued version of myself, and I would love to shoot this video feeling how I feel when I'm actually on the ketamine. It is an amazing feeling of integration and connectedness and wholeness that I've never experienced any other way. It's amazing. All right, I also got vaccinated today for COVID, so I thought to myself, well, what's the point of doing all this full-time rehabilitation if you get COVID and you're put out for a week? You're not working, you want to be in the gym, you want to be at the physical therapist, you want to be doing all the stuff you're supposed to be doing. So I finally got something scheduled, and we went down to Walmart and got the shot. So I am now 1/2 COVID vaccinated, and I have to wait another month. I pray I don't get sick in that month for the second dose. All right. I've also noticed a couple things. My workouts are getting much more intense, not so much because my trainer's pushing me, but because I feel like I can push myself. It's invigorating. After 4 months, 2 months of full-time rehabilitation and 2 months of physical therapy prior, I'm now at a point where I'm starting to feel strong, and I feel like I can actually push myself more intensely during my workouts. I'm getting more done in less time, and it's exciting. And I can also tell that my musculature is coming out. I can see it. The fat is reducing enough that I can see my biceps and veins in my arms. It's pretty exciting. So luckily my wife likes veins and muscles. So this is all good in all respects. All right, I have a tip related to resilience training, not resistance, but resilience training. Resilience training is when you condition your mind to be able to endure adverse circumstances. And I do that by, one of the ways I do it is by getting into a cold tub. And the way you're supposed to do it is alternate between a hot tub and a cold tub multiple times. I do it for 4 times. And if you're really resilient, you end in the cold tub, which means you leave the tub cold. You don't get back in the hot tub. You stay cold, and you let your body reacclimate to the ambient temperature. And it takes a while. It's uncomfortable, and sometimes you shiver. Well, I did it. And it is definitely a step up in my resilience training. I'm used to at least leaving the hot tub or the tubs, period, warm. But this time I was cold, and I endured it. So one more notch in my resilience training belt. I'm getting tougher by the day. All right, reframing, this important tool. What is it? Well, when you have chronic pain, you typically look at your experiences and the things you've gone through as negative, painful, dispiriting, depressing, that sort of thing. And there are always other perspectives to look at them through. Now, I'm not proposing that you put on rosy-colored glasses and pretend that chronic pain doesn't suck, because it does suck. But there are actually other legitimate perspectives about chronic pain and your suffering and the things you've endured that are also equally true. And if we only stop and talk about how chronic pain stinks and how you don't like your life and all the things you've experienced, you are leaving out a significant part of the story, and it happens to be the part of the story that could actually save you and change the way your mind works and bring you back from the brink. Now, the important part about these alternative perspectives, when you reframe something, is they have to have some validity to them. They have to be credible, meaning they can't be made up fluff. If they don't pass the credibility test, you're not going to believe them, and it does no good. So there is some effort involved in understanding these new perspectives and crafting them, but it is possible to do it, and I've done it myself, so I believe in it. Another important point is that when you reframe your experiences, that does not invalidate the original experience, meaning chronic pain still sucks, and it is awful and difficult to deal with. None of that is invalidated. None of your suffering is invalidated. It's just anded, that's an important keyword, anded to this new perspective, this reframe perspective. So remember that keyword and. I learned this in my chronic pain coping group, and it's kind of funny, and. it's a powerful tool because it basically states that multiple things can be true at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to drop one for the other. So it's an important thing to think about, and it's essential to reframing your experience. Now, I've been doing reframing for some time without knowing what it was. I didn't have a name for it, but I found myself just naturally, organically doing it. And it's kind of funny because a lot of the techniques I've been employing have names. They have advocates online that are telling you to do them, and they give you the terminology for them, but I've just been doing them organically and figuring them out on my own, which is kind of a testament to the fact that they're valid, that they work, and they're not just made up garbage. So, I will give you a couple of examples from my experience, because that's the experience I know the best, of how I've reframed certain events in my life, and painful experiences, to see them a different way. And again, I anded them. I put them together. I did not invalidate the original interpretation of the experience. I just added to it and made it more rich, more real, and more accurate. All right, the first of these is I have been institutionalized 3 times. Now, it's important to point out, voluntarily institutionalized. Now, it's not a badge of honor or something you put on a resume that you went into a mental institution. Immediately, someone thinks there's something wrong with you. And they're right. You go there because there is something wrong with you. But it's not incurable. It's not like it lasts forever. It can actually be gotten over, and you may not ever have to go back into a mental institution. So it's not like a scarlet letter or a permanent stigma on your person. It can be forgotten, in essence, and moved beyond. That's not the reframing, though, although that is part of the reframing that I do. The original interpretation was, I'm broken. And anyone who might know that I went into a mental institution is going to think I'm crazy and think less of me and maybe not hire me or maybe not want to be my friend, right? That's the original interpretation. Now, there are parts to that are invalid. You have to challenge those, but there is a stigma. The stigma's real. That was not a made-up interpretation. However, I have already provided some of the reframing for you, but the main point of the reframing that turned this around for me was I voluntarily institutionalized myself, which means I was strong. I recognized a problem. I recognized I was in over my head, and I got the help that I needed. That takes real strength. And to give you a sense of the kind of strength it takes, at the first institution I checked myself into, it had fences with barbed wire. It did not look like a hospital. It looked more like a prison. And so that was hard to do. So I'm going to also add that interpretation onto my other interpretation and correct the factual errors in the original and come up with a more holistic understanding of what it means to be institutionalized and what that says about me. So that's one example of reframing. The other is I have a very long treatment history, and my original interpretation of that was nothing seems to work, therefore nothing will ever work. Now, the nothing will ever work part is false, so we have to challenge that, but the original part about nothing working, really, up to this point, has been true. No one thing, or even combination of things, has really solved my dilemma, and I may not even solve my dilemma this go-round, so that's actually correct. But what it does say about me, that I have a long treatment history, is that I'm a fighter. I keep trying, I never give up. Well, I do temporarily, but then I always get back up again. So again, if you get knocked down in a fight, but you stand back up, that says something about you. It means you have resiliency, right? You're willing to fight. You have something left within you to give, and you give it. So I'm going to add that interpretation onto the original of this long, kind of depressing history where nothing seemed to work, and the two together create a more rich and true version of that experience in my life. The last and third one is general to anyone, which is pain. Pain sucks. It's difficult to deal with. It can be debilitating. It can compromise you in lots of ways and steal what might feel like your life force from you. It kind of sucks it like a vampire. So that's true, and we're not going to challenge that. That is true. However, pain and suffering in general has other aspects to it that are equally true. And we don't need to discount them. We can and them on. And an example would be, I'm just going to give one, which is that my pain and my suffering has equipped me uniquely to empathize with and perhaps help others in a similar situation, and I would not have been able to do that if it weren't for the experience. That's also true. I'm hoping it's so true that these videos actually are watched by someone and they help someone. Do I know that's going to happen for sure? Nope. I have no idea. Do I think I'm up to the task? Maybe. I'm hoping I am, but I don't know for sure. I've never done media before. I've never been a personality, a public personality like this before. This is really out of my league, but I'm going to do it anyway because, again, that part of my experience and it on to the other part makes for a more rich and full experience and gives meaning to my suffering. Real meaning, not pretend meaning. Real meaning. Real meaning that could affect you and maybe those you love. Fighting for your life means learning how to reframe your experience. Not everything you've experienced is only negative or depressing or difficult. It can be many other things at the same time. And developing that skill to be able to reframe everything you've experienced and make it more rich and more true is a key factor in reclaiming your mind. If you find my videos helpful, please pass them along and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep fighting for your life.